All right. Welcome to another class. Baruch Hashem, nice crowds. We got to say l'chaim. Baruch atah name l'chom shakel l'vori. L'chaim. Okay. So today's lesson is going to be a very, very powerful one. And the lesson for today is going to be, just because it's true for someone else, doesn't mean it's true for you. Because we've been learning that there's a guy called a tzaddik. And this tzaddik, he's in love with God always. And we learned that the Beinoni, no matter how hard he tries, he's never going to have this always in love. It could be times where he loves God and meaning and can't even fathom doing anything against God. During prayer, it's the best thing. What happens after he finishes praying? Reality comes back and the temptation for chocolate cake and all the other stuff come back. So he might think to himself, so that means my whole prayer has been a lie. That whole feeling of love was a lie, it was a trick. The tzaddik doesn't desire chocolate cake because he's in love with God always. So me, that I sometimes love chocolate cake and sometimes don't love chocolate cake, it's not true. I thought I was going to say,
why do you have to chocolate cake? Why not?
That's the example.
Pick a
carrot cake.
So.
Carrot cake.
Yeah, carrot cake. Oh, I like
You know, 7-layer cake, right?
7-layer cake. We're recording 7-layer cake. Yeah.
Yeah, they make it good.
You know, so can I tell you the truth? Because me, I have a hard time saying no to chocolate cake. I don't have a hard time saying no. I mean, I'll eat it because it's cake. I mean, it has the word cake inside. You know, I'll eat it, but
cake.
yeah.
Cake.
So all that I was going to say that's a misunderstanding. When a person accomplishes what he can accomplish, that's his true service. No one's asking you to be perfect. God never asked you to be a perfectly holy, righteous person. So don't feel like a failure because after you finish praying, so you do a mitzvah, you feel good about yourself, and afterwards you go back to feeling like the same bum you were 15 minutes ago, thinking, so what's the point of the mitzvah? I mean, that feeling, who's the true me? If you remember going back to class number 1, one of the questions Alter Rebbe is trying to answer here: who's the true me, the bum, or the guy the drive to do mitzvot? And we explained it to the two people inside. There are two consciousnesses inside of you. We all have our divine self that wants to elope with God, and then we have the animal self. It's called the animal self because all it wants is 7-layer cake.
To be a behemoth.
To be a behemoth. What's the definition of a behemoth, of an animal? To fulfill whatever drive or need.
Somebody that's annoying.
That's annoying, right? So the Alter Rebbe says, don't feel bad. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
We're holding where it says the 20th of Tevis. Okay. V'hine, this is an old print. So Dylan, you have the old print, 198. The new print, Eric, where are you?
204.
204. Eric's a little off. He's still sick. He's on the wrong page.
Oh no.
V'hine midas avazu.
The order is set.
That this character of love, how more bebeinanim that we spoke about, the regular intermediate man, b'shas tefillah when he prays, al yidei iskavrush nefesh elokis, through the preponderance of the godly soul over the animal soul, because he's so inspired, so that godly soul is so inflamed that the animal soul can't even fathom doing, even think or try to do anything. Now, for the perfectly righteous man, who serve Hashem in perfect truth, for the tzaddik, it's not called true. So let's say if a parent has 2 kids. How many kids do you have, Ben? 3. Are they all the same? No. Some are good, let's say some are good at math and some are good at science. Yeah. Right? So the kid who's good at math, not so good at science, brings home an 80 in science and 100 in math, you're proud. If he brings home 80 in math, sorry, that's not good enough. But your other son, right, who has struggles with math and he gets an 80, good job, kid. Good job. But hey, how come you complimented him when he got an 80, but to me you're screaming because you are capable of doing 100. For you, 180 is not good enough. So we don't measure one person against the barometer against another person. So if the tzaddik can do many great things, there's the line from the previous Rebbe. He writes, if a guy is a stone cutter and he can polish and shape diamonds, and he decides to become a baker, it could be the town needs bakers, but for him it's bad. He's doing something wrong. Why? Because
He's not productive.
you can't say he's not productive. He's not producing according to his
He's not productive in his capacity.
That's the key word, capacity. So for the tzaddik to serve God like a regular person, that's not good. But for the regular person, it's good. Meaning, remember what we learned back in chapter 11. A tzaddik doesn't have any drive. That's not even normal. It's not, in chapter 10. It's not even attainable. We learn it's a gift from God. So no one's asking you to do that. Why is it not true for the tzaddik? Because a tzaddik, we learn, has no evil inclination. He has no drive for anything material. And this person we're discussing over here, after he finishes praying, does have that drive for material things. Uksiv, it says, Svas emes tachin lad, language of truth established forever. That's why it's called, what's the definition of truth? Truth means it's always the same.
Lasts forever.
Yeah, if the truth changes, it's not a truth.
What
Can't
about
be
alternative
questioned.
facts?
Alternative fact, huh?
Can't be questioned.
So, there's in the Gemara, where it talks about there's certain waters that could be used for purification. Those are called mayim chaim, living waters. Then there's called mayim kazuvim. Mayim kazuvim are waters that lie. Kozev is deceit. Deceitful waters. What are deceitful waters? It says if the body of water dries up once in 7 years, it's deceitful waters. It looks like there's water there, but because it dries up, it's not mayim chaim. It's not living water.
What's it called in English? In Hebrew, sorry?
Mayim kazuvim.
Kazuvim.
Deceitful waters. So it means truth means it's always the same. You know emet. Emet is the Hebrew word. Emet means truth. It's the first, emet spelled 3 letters. Aleph, mem, taf. Aleph is the first letter. Mem is the middle letter. Taf is the last letter. To show you that truth is the same. That's why emet is the signature of God. And also that when you say Yiskadal Viskadash, what do you say? Amen. I believe comes from the same. It comes from the same. Amen comes to Emun, means a craftsman, somebody who knows what he's doing. Is not lying to you. So for a tzaddik, it's sheker. Afal pikein, but for the tzaddik, for the righteous person, it's not good. But now I'm at 199 in the old print. But for the Beinani, Nikrais Avodas Tama, it's called a perfect service of God. The Emes Lamita Ishalem, for their level. Ish kefi madrekasim beinim. Every person according to their level. V'hareini kari bavosam shvosam gamkein. And that love that they possess during when they're praying, it's true. It is true. God doesn't expect you to be something you're not. God created you with a material physical body, and that material physical body wants hamburgers or chocolate cake or souffle. I know you're complaining I'm using the same.
No, those are the hardest ones.
Yeah,
now.
onion ring, right? Exactly. Right? Sushi. Correct. Okay. All right, guys. Class is the germ for sushi.
Let's go.
It's correct. It's a good thing we live in Hollywood. Otherwise, we just rented this.
Imagine we actually had a lot of kosher restaurants.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They have a
Not around here. No, all the way east. You gotta go all the way east to Hollywood.
I know one. It's like Griffin Road up there, over this way. I'll find out from my.
All right. Don't find out till it's too close. Hayel, why?
That close.
Exactly.
It's Griffin already.
Exactly. Hayel, since why? Because what's happening when you pray? When you pray, it's a mechanism, right? So you have an embedded inside of you divinity, divine soul. A divine soul wants to be awakened and aroused. So what are you doing? You're using your conscious self, you're pondering and thinking about the greatness of God, creation, how God directs. If you watch any National Geographic, BBC documentary, how everything ties in perfectly to each other, and you think about it. So what happens? It causes your godly soul. Again, it's important to remember the godly soul. You're not trying to incorporate it. It's there. A Jew has a godly soul. What you're trying to do instead is to awaken it. You're trying to bring it from a dormant state to a conscious state. So because you had a great prayer, you had a great moment before, that leads into later another great moment. There's a line in the Pirkei Avot that says, one good deed leads into another good deed, and one bad deed leads into another bad deed. Because that's how you remember. You guys ever watch that famous video going around YouTube or something of that admiral who says the first thing you do in the morning you make your bed?
Yeah.
Yeah, why? Because you wake up in the morning, you start your day off doing something good,
Success.
something constructive. Yeah,
You make your bed because you finished one. That's the first chore of the day that you finished.
exactly. So, meaning you started the day doing something constructive. So when you start off the day and you daven properly, meaning you take a portion. Listen, davening is 50, 100 pages. I mean, it's not. Prayer book starts at page 5. You don't finish until 84 or whatever it is, right? That's a long time to keep concentration, right? So you take one paragraph, 2 paragraphs, and you focus, right? You put the phone away and you focus, nothing else. So now you're a success. You might say, the beginning of a prayer was, I wasn't really concentrating, the end of prayer I didn't really concentrate, and later I'm going to do whatever it is, but it doesn't make a difference. Because you were successful now the next time you want to pray, you're building upon that success. And you say, I'm perfect. It's not perfect, it's not whole. No, who said you're supposed to be perfect? Who gave you that, idea?
Not my ex-wife.
No, but I mean, I think I understand what the rabbi is saying. When I started coming to shul, I couldn't follow anything. It's so fast. You barely get into this until I decide, okay, I'm doing one portion, but I'm doing just that portion, and I stick to it, and then
you build up to
you
it.
keep building on top of that.
This, like the story exactly, but the story of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were naked, right? They sinned and they hid. So God asked him, why are you hiding? He says, because we're naked. God says, who told you naked was a bad thing? Right? So meaning, we sometimes we strive for things that are unrealistic. Who told you you're supposed to be perfect? No one said. After the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai, what happened to all the Jews? They went back home. They went back to their tents. They went about living their regular lives. Who stayed on the mountain and spoke to God for 40 days? And he separated from his wife. Moshe separated from his wife for the rest of his life.
Really?
I mean, not separated like they're in a fight. They were never intimate with each other. Why? Because intimacy causes impurity. Slight impurity, one day impurity, and Moses never knew when God was gonna come speak to him. He always had to be ready.
But you weren't meant to have more children?
No, God, it was a specific instruction from God. Actually, Miriam, who speaks negatively to Aaron about Moshe, about the fact that he separated from his wife and all this, that he's not having more children, say, why is he doing that? God tells Miriam, you don't know my private conversations. Well, what's Mr. Ryan over here?
All of Israel are the sons of Moshe, right?
But the idea was that Moshe was special. He stayed up on the mountain. He's unique. Everyone else went back to being normal. Normal means that chocolate cake, hamburgers, whatever it is, you find it attractive and you find it enticing. It's normal. If you don't like chocolate cake, something's wrong with you.
Desire.
What?
So your desires come back.
Yeah,
in many ways.
because you're normal.
Yeah.
I mean, if it,
I like that.
whatever it is, or chocolate rugelach, whatever it is, fill in
Or vape.
or right.
Hamantash.
Hamantash. There you go. By the way, it says I don't know if our mother's baking hamantash, but my mother makes a wicked hamantash.
Hashtag mama.
Hashtag mama. But so what Alter Rebbe is saying is here, but if you can carve out time, not to say to yourself, chocolate cake, hamantash, and crackers, rugelach don't taste good. Yeah, they taste good, but right now I'm not going to focus on that. Right now I'm going to focus on this paragraph, the prayer. I'm just going to zone that out. So the next time, it gets that much easier. He says, by spiritual preparation. You know what the problem is when people say they don't feel inspired by prayer? You walk in, you haven't done anything to prepare. Why should it matter to you? Why does Purim, for example, is it a big deal? Because you talk about it, you get ready. It's a big deal. Passover, when you sit down by the Passover Seder, and you cleaned the house, and you bought special tablecloth and special dishes, and you bought a nice bottle of wine. Now the Passover Seder means something. Why? Because you're invested to it. You just show up. You buy the Passover kit in the box. No, that's. Do you know? By the way, you know what they sell? We have to dip the potato. No, that's the wrong holiday. Yeah, 6 months. We dip the apple. Not the apple. Now you got me all messed up. We dip. No, not the roasted. We dip the potato in the salt water, right? Do you know? You go to the store, they sell salt water. I'm not kidding.
It's over the top.
I promise you, they sell salt water. Like, how lazy do you have to be? Right? I tell them, guilty. But if they sell it, if they make
Cans
it,
of air.
flavored air. Flavored air. There you go. But meaning, if you want something to matter to you, you got to invest in it. The more you invest in it, the more. I haven't been following basketball or hockey for that matter. I heard on the radio this morning they're getting close to the playoffs. You know what my reaction was?
Well,
I mean, I didn't. I'm going to watch the playoffs. Of course, it's the playoffs. But the point is, and this is the way it works with anything in life. Anything. If you're an enthusiast, you invest in it, then it makes a difference. That's what he says. So before prayer. That's why we learn on Shabbat morning. We learn before davening. So when you go into prayer and you give it some thought about who you're praying to and what's happening as a result of you praying and all that, what the holiday means, what the day means, it takes on a whole new meaning. So he says the note beginning on the bottom of 199. The Beinoni's love of Hashem is thus constant, since it's either active, revealed, or in potential, and can be revealed at any moment once he thinks about it. But one difficulty yet remains: how is it possible for the same level of service to be considered true if it's not the same? True means it's the same. How could one thing be true for the tzaddik, or one thing be true for the Beinoni? It's not true. The matter is explained as follows: the quality of truth is found in every level. Truth means the essence of core of that level. So let's say, for example, your kid is in first grade and he starts reading, and he reads. But he reads slowly, right? It makes mistakes, and you go over to the kid and you say, "Wow, you read very nicely." Some guy, "What are you talking about very nicely? That's not very nicely." Listen to another person read. That's how you read nicely. So you tell the person, "Yeah, but he's in first grade. So for first grading, he's reading nicely. Doesn't make it not true. Is reading those perfectly? No. So true doesn't mean absolute same standard. True means where are you on that level. And since there's a bunch of different levels of people, so true is wherever you are. And by the way, that's why every day is a different day. Why do we pray the same thing every day?
God commanded us to.
repetition.
God just wants to see you do the same thing.
It's important. It's a priority.
Because it's a constant.
But the idea is, but why am I doing the same thing? Because it's not the same thing. Every day, if you do the same exact thing you did yesterday, today, it's not true. What is God? Huh?
Everything
It's a
changes,
different day.
but the prayer is the same.
Yeah, but every day you can bring out a different. What the rabbis formulated in the prayer book is just like empty canister, so to speak. It's your job to fill it up. They said this is the best way for you to achieve the closest to God or spiritual awakening. These words doesn't mean, by the way, you can't add your own words. You're allowed to add your own words in the blessing of Shema Kolenu.
You can freestyle.
You can freestyle it. You put on a. By the way, there was a guy. I saw a video. Someone sent me a video of some Jewish guy outside a bagel store in Boston. You saw it? He was like what he called freestyling rap. He's wearing, it was a St. Patrick's Day. He's wearing a green something. He's trying to get customers to go into the bagel store. This Jewish guy like rapping like the kind of like Jewish rap, bagels and lox. I have to find it. So one of the chats that it's very cute. But in the most of the blessings are very structured, right? God give me this. But in the blessing, exactly. And but in the blessing of Shema Koleinu is God listen to our voice. You can add stuff in there. But the idea is, if you're alive today, means that you have something unique to do today that you didn't do. Yesterday's service is not sufficient. Negative something new. Here you go. Let's finish up the chapter. Kihine, this is on page 200. Kihine in the old print. 206. Kihine midas emes. The attribute of truth is associated with midas Yaakov. Midas Yaakov is the attribute of Yaakov, Jacob, our forefather. Nikra b'riach atichon, which is called the middle bolt. So in the tabernacle were made up of all these poles. They're made up of all these poles. Now, the poles, they had, they're not both poles, sorry, beams. There were 40 beams on the north side, 40 beams on the south side. And then they had these poles that...
Posts.
Beams.
Beams.
No. They're called, no.
Columns.
Not columns either. Beams. Columns, no, because they had columns that were independent, standing things. These beams were flush with each other. I never saw it translated as posts. Usually a kerish is a beam. Kerish is a beam. Now how in English beam is, but they usually translate it as beams. There were 40 beams flush with each other. They had these two pegs that went into silver sockets. Now in order to get them all that they line up, so they had a pole that ran along the top half, a pole that ran along the bottom half, and then there was a pole, one long pole that went through the middle. They drilled a hole through the middle. The upper and lower poles were on the outside in a sleeve. The middle pole was through the middle. That's called the b'riach hatichon, the middle bolt. So maybe the one extreme is Abraham, another extreme is Isaac, but the middle one, like a perfect balance, is Jacob. That's truth. Morei mehamalos, in spiritual term, this means the madregas atzef kal darga. This is the highest gradations from the highest to lowest. And every level, it passes through the central point of that particular level. That is truth. Maimonides writes, truth is not one extreme. Not good even to go to extremes. Now I always joke, some people like to go be over religious. Too religious. Rabbis frown. You can't be more religious than everybody. Don't think you're holier than everybody else. But the rabbis always realize that these crazy people need a release. So they gave them Passover. You want to go crazy? You want to cover your whole house in foil? Give you 1 week. You got your crazy religious release. You can do whatever you want. You don't want to eat this? No problem. Go crazy. But take all your craziness, all your religious competition craziness, put it into 1 week. That's it. But in because you go. There are some people that go make their own matzah, make their own wine. I mean, there are people that go. I mean, I know you've been to my house and you think I'm crazy. I always think I'm not crazy. I'm normal. Everyone else is crazy.
You never beg to differ.
So the
You haven't been there a few times.
yeah, exactly. So the idea is that Maimonides writes, extremes are not good. Extremes aren't. The middle path, that's truth. A person shouldn't be a big spender, shouldn't be too cheap. A person shouldn't eat too much, eat too little. Right? It's all the. In fact, the Talmud says a perfect balance is when a person eats, works part of the day, sleeps part of the day, and learns part of the day. It's all, and even in his spending, it's interesting. The Talmud teaches you how to diversify your portfolio. Put some in cash, some in real estate, some in liquid assets. It's very interesting. The Gemara.
What does it say of Ethereum?
Who?
What?
The cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Down a lot now.
I don't know if Talmud was.
Is Bitcoin kosher?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the
It's like
guy.
guilt, it's like
it's-
mafia guilt.
Yeah, exactly.
Just business.
Favorite
I once-
currency of a Palestinian.
digital, so it's not real.
Yeah.
You can't feel it.
But he's saying truth is subjective.
No, truth not.
It's as real as you believe it.
No, truth is for where you're standing. Okay. And the attribute of truth is unbounded in inheritance. It has no upper limit. Extends to the highest level. And all the lower levels are nothing compared to those superior. That means truth. Let me see if it's gonna stop. I think I'm gonna put the duct tape on my ears next week.
Just put handcuffs on your hands.
No.
Staple.
It's stable. There you go. Truth is the level where you are. The level where you are, you got to ask yourself, what can is expected to me? And now, if you judge yourself by where you were previously, that's low. That's not good. Can you do it like it's known to those Kabbalah? That means, you ever heard the line? It's better to be the tail of a lion than the head of a fox. You ever heard the line before?
No.
No.
What do you mean?
It's an old line. I don't
He's
even.
gonna tell us.
It's an old line. The Gemara says it's better to be the end of the tail of a lion than the head of a fox. But meaning, although you're the back of a lion, but it's a lion. Yeah, you're the head of a fox, but it's a sly, cheating fox.
You stay alive too.
Yeah, exactly. The point of the matter is you can think, if I stay at my previous level, I'm gonna be the top. I'm gonna be great. Yeah, but you're lower. The idea is always the term. I think it was the previous Rebbe who was taught by his father. He says, when it comes to material matters, you always look down. People have less than us. When it comes to spiritual matters, you always look up. The people who have more, meaning accomplished. Never be satisfied when it comes to spiritual. Always think I can accomplish more. So for today, yeah, you got to push yourself. And what you accomplish today by pushing yourself and got to be honest with yourself, that's true for today. God willing, you wake up tomorrow. If you don't wake up tomorrow, then you know your service is done. If you wake up tomorrow, that means God wants something more from you, not the same thing. What was true yesterday, that's it's kind of like modern medicine. If you go by the medical practices of old times, back then they swore by it. It was true. You know what bloodletting is? You know what bloodletting is?
They still do that for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. People have too much iron in their blood. They save their lives by giving blood all the time. It's the opposite of hemophilia. But yeah, back in the day,
I think
God
that
served everything.
Yeah, there you go. I think back in the day they did it for everything. Someone was sick, they drained blood, and sometimes they drained too much. Whoops. I knew. It's like I left the water boiling. Oh, man, what I knew I was forgetting something.
Put a couple of leeches on his back.
Yeah, but so Chemaim Razal finishing up the pasuk. Raglei hachayis connect kulam. The feet of the chayis surpass all those levels. So to finishing off the last paragraph, the last note. The attribute of truth thus is measured according to the standard of each level. Where do you stand today? We may thus conclude that the divine service of the Beinoni, the intermediate regular man, is considered true service relative to their level. Although when compared to a tzaddik, you compare it to someone else. No one told you to compare yourself to someone else. Yeah, compared to someone else, it's not true. So l'chaim, we should all reach our potential for every single day. L'chaim, have a freilichen, put him.
Wait a minute, you're saying L'chaim, but nobody had a read them.
Wait, it's still recording?
It's still recording. I got it.
Yeah, record it. Now I'm sitting here with no shot, just talking and no